What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video I'm going to be detailing the changes that occurred to Peregrine Greaves. On screen now you can see some before footage of Peregrine Greaves in action. This is from last season before their buff. The big thing I noticed was how Hammer Strike does a lot less damage than the other two shoulder charges. This was quite weird and I was curious to see if it would be addressed. Well, good news, it was. However, there are some other weird things going on here. This is a Solar Surge lost sector, so we should be dealing extra solar damage, and we do on our weapons and stuff, but our Hammer Strike is only hitting for a fraction more damage. It hits for 158,527 and 9608 for a total of 168,135. And then the Arc and Void melees both hit for 155,004 and 5125 for a total of 155,516. So this is only about an 8% damage increase, not 25%. Regardless, I got some before footage in the same lost sector by chance, and that Solar Hammer Strike only hit for 66,475 and 13,636, and this was with Solar Surge on. So that was only 80,111 damage total, so it is now hitting 2.1 times harder, which is an awesome buff. We love to see it. But like I said, the Hammer Strike was by far the worst when I was doing all my testing last season. The Arc Shoulder Charge hit for about 100,000 damage, as did the Void Shoulder Charge. However, Void can get double melee damage from the Aspect Offensive Bulwark when we have an Overshield. So before, that could hit for about 200,000, which just about one banged a Master Champion. So how does it look after the buff? 310,000 damage. What does this mean? It means that Peregrine Greaves on Void with an Overshield will very likely be able to one-bang Grandmaster Champions, which is awesome and what I was hoping for. I lowered my light level to 1816, so I was 24 under light, which is almost the GM power delta, and on Solar I was able to get the champion finishable with the Solar Operative mod equipped. So in a fire team it might not quite be enough damage, but as long as your teammates do some damage, then you'll be fine. So now that we know how they look in action, let's go over the actual changes. The patch notes state, you now have to be airborne for a brief time before the exotic effects will apply, and damaging champions, tormentors, or mini-bosses with a shoulder charge deals further increased damage and refunds your melee energy. The refunding of the melee is crazy to me. I had a whole build planned out for melee uptime including 100 strength, which I rarely spec for, but now you really don't need that. Just save your melee for the big targets and you're good. If you do want to spam the melee though, you can use Monte Carlo for tons of melee energy, or melee kickstart and melee regenerating mods. The exotic perk pretty much states what the patch notes said, but it also provides a small benefit to AE on your weapons. So here's the thing with this exotic now. Much like Worm God's Caress, which I did a video on yesterday, it is a high risk, high reward playstyle. In a GM, it is not always possible or safe to run into the fray to get a shoulder charge off on a champion, but if you are able to, you will be rewarded greatly. It will pretty much delete the champion in any content, especially if you're running a Void subclass and have an Overshield. And this is great in high-end content as a way to save on heavy and special ammo. If you can just shoulder charge all or most of the champions to death, then you can have more ammo for other enemies than the boss. I think this is a wonderful rework and it is exactly what I was hoping for. The refund to the melee charge is just a cherry on top. I will throw in a clip of what happens when you don't get the melee to proc. As you can see, it does like no damage. But you do still get your melee back, so that's awesome. As well, this was a sub 4 minute Master Lost Sector with a double primary loadout, and I wasted my rockets pretty early on. So I think it really shows off just how good these boots can be. Anyways, that is it for the video. Like I said, I think Bungie killed it with this rework and pretty much all the exotic reworks this season. At least the ones that I've tested. It builds into the identities of the exotics, what they were made to do. These were made to delete high health targets, and now they can do it better than ever. Worm God Caress are now the ultimate melee exotic on Titan, as they should be. Celestial Nighthawk now deals more damage than Star Eater Scales, and as it should. Star Eater is good for every single hunter subclass, whereas Celestial was only good for one super on one subclass. So it should be the best at that one thing, and I'm glad it is. Anyways, sound off in the comments how you are liking the exotic reworks this season, and this season in general. And leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more breakdowns. As always, thanks for watching if you still are, I really do appreciate it. Happy champion killing and take care.